Welcome back to the official podcast home of the Association for Materials Protection and Performance. I'm Ben Dubose, news editor with the AMP publications team. AMP, of course, is the shorthand acronym for the association. And as far as the publications, we've got three distinct brands and outlets. That's Coatings Pro Magazine, Materials Performance Magazine, and Corrosion Journal. All are housed within our publications group. As far as AMP, the big story for us is that we recently wrapped up the 2026 AMP Annual Conference and Expo. Held in late March in Houston, it was a record-setting show with more than 6,300 attendees and over 350 exhibitors, including 72 exhibitors that were brand new and also 13 new sponsors. Houston is home to one of AMP's global headquarters, so we were absolutely thrilled to be able to welcome so many people to our backyard. And then as far as AMP publications, one of the brand new offerings for us at this year's conference was our AMP Media Studio. It was basically a recording studio inside the larger AMP booth at the exhibit hall. And so what we did there, we brought in and interviewed a handful of leaders within both the association as well as the broader industries and markets that we serve. Topics of discussion included highlights of the show, industry trends, feedback from the market, as well as a few random things that are unique to each person's background. So throughout the spring, what we're doing here on this channel is playing back those one-on-one exclusive interviews that we taped from the show. We may also use some of those quotes in future articles within our print publications or on the websites, so please stay tuned for that. But the first step is publishing the interviews and letting you all take a listen, and so that's what we're doing right now. Let's roll the tape.
I'm Sammy Miles with AMP Media at the AMP 26 Exhibit Hall. I'm here with Paul Chang. And Paul, can you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Sammy. My name is Paul Chang. I'm the Director for Corrosion Policy and Oversight and Technology Innovation for the Department of War.
Wonderful. And how's your week going?
It's been great. I just got in this morning and been able to walk the exhibit hall floor here and meet a lot of great people who are just passionate about the work that they do.
What are your aims this week at the AMP conference?
I think what I'd like to do while I'm here is to meet new organizations who have a passion for addressing corrosion prevention and control, and to see how applicable they are to the Department of War and the sustainment of our weapon systems and our facilities.
What are some of your goals with the department?
One of the things I'd like to do is ensure that I leverage the expertise and the management of the AMP organization as a whole, and then utilize them to access some of our industry partners out here to identify those technologies, those processes, and those techniques that are utilized for the workforce to see how I can incorporate that into the department and our sustainment realm.
And what can AMP do to help support you?
I think one of the first things that AMP can do is to continue to identify those technology needs as we move forward. As we have acquisition reform going in place in our department, we have a influx of new weapon systems, new technologies, new things that are coming into our supply system. However, there hasn't been a thought to how we address them downstream through sustainment. And I want to prepare our workforce for the sustainment of these new technologies and materials that will be pushed into our system. And a lot of people here at this conference, in this exhibit hall, are addressing exactly those things.
What can we do to help support getting our members and our exhibitors more involved?
Well, first thing is to communicate. One of the things I've been doing is opening myself up towards contact. Because so many of the technologies and the people who are here are passionate about wanting to help the national defense effort. One thing that they're unfamiliar with, though, is what is that demand signal from our military services, whether it's the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force. We need to be able to identify what those needs are. And when that demand signal comes up from the field or from the depot, I want to be able to convey that over to the AMP organization so they can disseminate it out to the association, to the membership here.
And is there anything else you'd like to share with our members?
I think if I were to share anything, the Corrosion Policy and Oversight strategy in this current year is to focus on three different things. Those three things are the workforce development of our people. This is not only military and government, but also our industry partners. It only makes sense for me to invest in our industry partners who conduct, in most cases, over 90% of the maintenance work at shipyards and at least 50% of the work throughout the depots and for maintenance of weapon systems, equipment, and facilities. Second, I'd like to look at technologies that are achievable, that are practical, not necessarily the shiny, bright new thing. However, those technologies that are real and can be applied across the enterprise of the department, whether it be for a JLTV vehicle or for an MTVR vehicle, or maybe it's a landing gear for an aircraft. The whole point is that we want to apply technologies across the enterprise to those systems that make sense. Lastly, I want to focus on policies, specs, and standards. I know that some of the ones that we utilize are antiquated, haven't been updated in years and decades even, and we need to address that to make sure that we set a level playing field for everyone so that they can participate in the possibility of supporting national defense. That doesn't mean lowering the specifications and standards. It means raising them to a level of quality that brings everyone above the fray of the common household paint, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does. And thank you for joining me. Again, I'm Sammy Miles with AMP Media, and I'm here with Paul Chang.
All right. Thank you.
All right, that will do it for this interview from the 2026 AMP Annual Conference and Expo. But please stay tuned throughout the spring because we've got quite a few of these that are debuting on our AMP and Coatings Pro Magazine podcast channels. We've already posted quite a few as well, so check out the archives if you haven't been listening over the past few weeks. Our hope is that the information and insights from these conversations will ultimately benefit our readers, association members, and the industry as a whole. And beyond the podcast channels, don't forget to check out our print publications, our social media pages, and our websites for Coatings Pro Magazine, Materials Performance Magazine, and Corrosion Journal. All of those brands are housed within our AMP Publications family, and we'll have lots of great exclusive content from the show coming out in the days and weeks ahead. Just stick with us and we'll have more to come. Anyway, that will do it for today. On behalf of our entire editorial team, I'm Ben Dubose, news editor for the AMP Publications Group. We appreciate you so much for checking out this interview, and please come back soon for more exclusive coverage of the 2026 AMP Annual Conference and Expo.